Ale ale praise Yahweh. Ale ale praise Yahweh. Ale ale praise Yahweh. Ale ale praise Yahweh. You've been good to me. You're great to me. You lift me.
Hello and welcome to Restore with B&B. I am Beverly.
And I am being Bola.
It's good to have you back in this new year.
Yeah.
As we begin the new year, we'd like to talk about something really important. And what's that?
Relevant.
Yeah, we're talking about relevance. Yeah, how did we come about relevance?
Yes. Someone sent a message in asking questions about how to be relevant. I think she she stumbled on a write-up where the person was on and on about the things she does that makes her relevant and all that and all that. So this dear person that sent the message in was now uh, inspired. She felt inspired, and she was like, "What do you think? This is the kind of relevance I want. Can I achieve this kind of relevance?" So I was discussing that with Beverly, and then that was what started the discussion of relevance. Yeah.
First of all, before we begin to talk about why and how and all of that, I want to talk about what is relevance first. Relevance,
Yeah.
okay, says important to the matter at hand. It means you are important to the matter at hand. I think we should just go with that.
See what you were saying about season.
Yes.
Earlier.
Yes.
And you said the fact that you are in this generation.
Yes.
You are alive at a time like this, at a season like this. It means you are relevant in this season.
I always say, and I think we've said this in one of the other videos, that God is not bored. And he just says, okay, let me just create anyhow, throw them anywhere they land, they grow. He's very intentional about everything he does. So if he puts you and I on earth at this time, it's because we are relevant to what he is doing at this time.
The question now is, are we aware?
Yes.
Are we conscious
Yes.
of that? Are we intentional about our relevance?
Yes.
Are we living out our relevance?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can have a fan, functional fan,
yes,
and be sweating.
Yes.
You don't know the relevance of the fan. It doesn't mean the fan is irrelevant. It doesn't mean it's irrelevant. You just don't know. So the thing is, we are relevant. Let's just put that one out there. Everybody just know. Do not allow yourself to be deceived, to think less of yourself, that you are irrelevant, which takes me to Solomon chapter 2 verse 2, which is something I posted. It says, like a lily among thistles is my darling among young women. I would like to say that as not just a woman now, the darling woman now, as the church, as the believer.
The bride of Christ.
Yes. And one of the things God opened my eyes to see about that lily is that lily is a very fragile plant. The lily is a very fragile but beautiful plant. And it is easy to, do you know where lilies thrive? Among thorns. How can this fragile thing come out? Do you understand? Why? What are you doing among thorns? It is easy for that lily to say, hey, everybody around me is so strong and is useful and is this and I'm just here, very fragile. And it is very important for us to see ourselves the way God sees us. He says, and God saw the thorns around the lily and said, that is my beloved.
Please read that scripture again.
Like a lily among thistles is my darling among young women. We tend to look at ourselves, compare ourselves with ourselves, this one has achieved this, especially in this new year now. You're like, God, why me? When will it be my turn? What have I done that is
God,
so,
when?
why can't you use me? But there is a time for everything. And you may actually, the funny thing about relevance is that
Mm,
you may actually be fulfilling your relevance without knowing.
mm.
There are times because we associate relevance with big things. With big things. This person has bought a car, the person has his business is in running in millions, the person has the ministry is 1
This
million
person is
seater,
sitting with presidents, moving with governors.
and their name is known worldwide. Relevance is not about, especially as we speak now, we're not even talking about relevance in the world, we're talking about relevance in Christendom as children of God. It's not relevance in, maybe in a small church now, everybody knows the music minister, so he's relevant.
But nobody knows the person that sweeps the church
And makes it possible for everybody
to worship there,
to worship there.
that cleans the pulpit, cleans the chairs, those things and all that.
We think that the person that is most seen is the most
And
relevant.
that is it. Most times, that is our definition of relevance. The loudest, the most visible.
But that's not the case. The fact that you are here.
Yeah, that settles your relevance question.
That
Am I
settles-
relevant?
Yes, you
Are you alive?
Yes.
Are you alive? Yes, you are relevant.
Then you are relevant.
There is a purpose for your being alive at this time. It is because you are relevant. When we are talking about relevance, because this is restored, we mean relevance to God's plan now.
Yes.
We are restricting our definition of relevance to God's kingdom.
And
Because that is what we are about.
Yes, and like you said, you cannot be relevant to God and be relevant to the
On
world.
earth, yeah. So like I was telling you while we were discussing earlier, like I said that for me, I believe that it's not even for me. It's just that's just the truth. I believe that relevance begins with God. No matter where you are relevant or who you think you are relevant with, if relevance with God is not the foundation, if relevance with God is not established, you are not relevant anywhere else. If all your relevance is limited to this world, Apostle Paul says, if our hope is restricted to this world, we are of all men most. If all your relevance ends on earth, it has no bearing to God's kingdom on the earth, then we can say, of all men, we are the most miserable.
I remember having a conversation with my boys about this issue of bearing a son to carry your name. I think you and I have had a similar conversation, and I was telling them, you don't need a son to carry your name. Jesus did not marry. He didn't have children. We are still calling Jesus till today.
Apostle Paul.
Paul did not. It is not, don't allow yourself to be defined by, that's the thing there seems to be a mix, a thin line. The lines are blurred now between the world and the church. We cannot differentiate which is which anymore. Which is, so we now what now base ourselves, we now
Our standards,
measure ourselves with the measurement of the world.
As kingdom people, our standards are different. We don't use the same measures that the world uses to measure relevance in the kingdom.
And by the way, it's not our place. It is not in our place to measure another person's relevance.
Apostle Paul says, do not judge anything before the day is up.
And the scripture, like I always say, says Jesus is the only one just to judge, because he sees everything. He's the only one that sees the full picture.
So how do I know I'm relevant in God's plan? Yeah.
One, you are alive. Now, what you do with the fact that it is because you are relevant you are here is a different thing. We are all relevant. So what am I doing to fulfill the purpose for which I have been put here?
And I see many people today, especially young people, trying to seek relevance in the wrong places. Wrong, not because these places are evil or demonic, but wrong because priorities are not defined. I said earlier, I said the beginning of relevance is to start with God. If you are not established in your relationship with God,
Okay.
we cannot even begin to talk about your relevance.
I was looking at the synonyms of relevance, and have been wondering why connection is a synonym of relevance. Connection.
Connect.
I am connected to what is happening. I'm also connected to the other people that are connected to what is happening.
I am connected to what is happening. I am not left out
Mhm.
of what is happening.
So when you were talking about seeking relevance in the wrong places, I think it is because you don't even know what relevance means in the first place.
Mm.
Because if you knew what relevance meant, you would know that it is not something you seek. It is not something you seek. It is something you are.
Hi, that's deep.
You are relevant.
Relevance is what you have,
Yes.
not what you seek. Please write that down because I'm going to write it down. Wow, that's deep.
If I know that I am relevant, that is the only time I can't be threatened. I don't feel like, this person, I need to buckle up so that I can meet up. Meet up to what?
There won't be need for comparisons, competition.
Competition. There's no need. There's no need.
Now you mentioned connection
Connection
to what is happening.
to what is happening
Now, what is happening where?
in the world first. We are all connected. So if I know I am relevant, I am not going to try to do life in isolation, if that is even possible. Because I am connected to what is happening on earth. You are connected to what is happening on earth. We are connected to God. So I was saying, I see the world like a building that has a foundation. You have the casting, and all of that. Then you have the raising the walls to lintel, and there were people that God needed at the laying of the foundation, which was at the beginning. You could have been our Eve.
Why Eve? Why me?
You know, there were people God needed at the beginning. There were people God needed at the foundation. There were people God needed at the lintel, and I feel like we now are the people God needs at the roofing of this building.
The building is
The
about to
building
be
is
wrapped
about
up.
to be wrapped up. And there are people that God needed to be on earth in this time. So you can't say I'm seeking relevance.
Relevance is what you have, like I said earlier. If Jesus calls us the light of the world, the salt of the earth, we came relevant.
We came relevant.
Or the moment you got born again,
You are relevant.
your relevance is activated.
Yes. It's not that it wasn't there, it got activated.
It got activated. It
at
came
the
alive.
new birth. It came alive at the new birth. So really, you shouldn't be saying I'm seeking relevance. Now it is okay, this relevance. That which is why knowing God is the most important thing you can do on earth.
It is the beginning of relevance.
Because what do you do with your relevance if you don't know where you're supposed to be? If you don't know the person that made you relevant, what you are relevant for? The Bible, is it the Bible that says, we talked about it today and a few days ago, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. And what I see now in church is a lot of abuse, because We don't know who we
We
are.
are abusing our relevance.
Ourselves, yes.
Hmm.
We are casting our pearls before the swine,
Hmm.
trying to compete with the world for relevance. Can you
Imagine that. Imagine that. Trying to use the same measures the world uses to gauge
Our relevance.
So relevance is not about what you do, it's about who you
Who you are. It's who you are.
and of course who you are should influence
And
what you do.
the way you can maximize who you are is to know who you are. You can't maximize who you are if you don't even know who you are.
So it begins from knowing who you
Knowing,
are.
who am I? So I guess if you know who you are and you have established the fact that I am here, so I am relevant, then it will lay the foundation for how you live your life. I think we can stop at this point for this session. We'll continue in the next session where establish the fact that you are relevant. The fact that you are alive means you are relevant. If you weren't, you would not be here. So that
you don't know it does not change
that does not change the fact that you are.
And that is where we keep going back to knowing God.
Yes.
So that He can show you your relevance and begin to live it out intentionally as you walk with Him. Yes.
So see you in the next part.
Yes.
Do not go anywhere.
I see your hands everywhere I look.
Because this is restored, our relevance is established. What?
Give me what? I remind you that.
Now you